Hi everyone, welcome back to a new post today. And today let's speak about the most important issues that you need to keep track for September 14th. The very first is about the Commission of Air Quality and Management. It is a statutory body that was established under the Commission for Air Quality and Management, National Capital Territory and Adjoining Areas Act of 2021. And the Government of India established the statutory body. The Act received its presidential assent in 2021 and replaced, it was first brought about by an ordinance. The Commission basically aims to better coordinate research, identify and resolve the problems with regard to the air quality in the NCR, that's the National Capital Region, and the adjoining areas. Adjoining areas means Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan. The air quality around Delhi NCR is managed by multiple bodies, and before the Commission for Air Quality Management was established in 2021, the bodies include the Central Pollution Control Board, the CPSB, the State Pollution Control Board, the Environmental Pollution Control Authority of NCR, and various state governments concerned. The bodies were further monitored by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change and also the Supreme Court. This body was replaced the Environmental Pollution Authority that was appointed by the Supreme Court and has been active for 22 years. The Environmental Pollution Authority was active for 22 years. The centre said that the Environmental Pollution Authority had become redundant and ineffective and therefore did not have any penal provisions with which the Commission of Air Quality and Management has been accorded. And therefore, the Commission of Air Quality and Management has replaced the Environmental Pollution Authority. Only the National Green Tribunal will have the power to hear the cases involving the Commission of Air Quality and Management and not the civil courts, let me tell you. The next is about Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar recently called on the states to implement the National Education Policy of 2022. He called on all the states to implement the National Education Policy, which is founded on 5 pillars of access, equity, quality, affordability and accountability. Let me discuss some of the salient features. There are about 32 of them. I will just spell out 10 of them. The others you please look into. They are ensuring universal access to all levels of school, that is pre-primary to grade 12, ensuring quality education, that is childhood care and education for all children from 3 to 6 years, new curriculum and pedagogical structure, that is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, no hard separations between arts and sciences, between curricular and extracurricular activities, between vocational and academic streams. Establishment of the National Mission on Foundational Literacy and Numeracy, emphasizing on promoting multilingualism, Indian languages, the medium of instruction under the until at least grade 5, but preferably till grade 10 and beyond will be the home language or the mother tongue or the local language or regional language. Assessment reforms. So the board exams up to 2 occasions during any given school year, 1 examination and 1 for improvement if desired, and setting up of a national assessment center, PARAK, that is Performance Assessment Review, Analysis, Knowledge and Holistic Development, equitable and inclusive education, special emphasis on socially and economically disadvantaged groups, and a separate gender inclusion fund and special educational zones for the disadvantaged groups and the regions. These are some of the important features of the National Education Policy of 2020. And now UK, Russia, US and France have supported the permanent membership of India to the United Nations Security Council. The P5 members are United States, UK, France, Russia and China. They are also called as the P5 or the permanent 5 members, and they have the power to veto any resolution. So if one of the 5 members vetoes a resolution, it cannot be implemented. A resolution is a decision to be implemented by the United Nations, and these countries have the veto power. The Security Council also elects 10 members who serve for a 2-year period, non-consecutive terms, and they do not have the veto power. So the Security Council consists of 5 permanent members and 10 non-permanent members who have a term of 2-year period. The United Nations Charter has to be amended if more members to the Permanent Security Council have to be added. And let me tell you that the Charter itself defines the powers and functions of the United Nations Security Council. It says to maintain international peace and security in accordance with the principles and purpose of United Nations, to investigate any dispute and situation which may lead to international friction, to recommend methods of adjusting such disputes or terms of settlement, to formulate plans for establishment of a system of regulate armaments, to determine the existence of threat to peace or act of aggression and recommend which action should be taken, to call on the members to apply economic sanctions and other methods not involving the use of force to prevent or stop aggression, like many countries have done during the Russia-Ukraine war, to take military action against an aggressor. Peace missions do that, to recommend admission of new members. So time and again new members have been added to the United Nations, to exercise trusteeship functions of the United Nations in strategic areas, to recommend to the General Assembly the appointment of the Secretary General, and together with the Assembly to elect the judges of the International Court of Justice. These are some of the functions of the United Nations Security Council which you need to remember and are important. Now the next most important is about the peak of the Gori chain in range in Arunachal Pradesh. Now the peak is named after the Dalai Lama. So the Indian mountaineers scaled the 20,000 feet high peak Gori chain range of Arunachal Pradesh in the Himalayas and named it as Sangyang Gyatso Peak in honor of the 6th Dalai Lama, His Holiness Rigzen Sangyang Gyatso, and the peak is near the line of actual control and the west face of Gori chain complex of mountains. India's decision to name the peak comes at a time when China has been changing the names of many of the places of India, especially Arunachal Pradesh and in the Aksai Chin region. The National Institute of Mountaineering and Allied Sports has named it as a tribute to Dalai Lama for his timeless wisdom and profound contribution. Let me tell you that His Holiness was born in 1962. To an indigenous Monpa family in the Tawang district of Arunachal Pradesh. He was recognized and enthroned in the Patola Palace in Tibet as a 6th Dalai Lama. And the next one is about World Tourism Day being celebrated on 27th September each year. We have Incredible India, we have UNESCO heritage sites, we have circuits with regard to specific tourism features. The date marks the anniversary of the adoption of the statute of the organization of 1970, paving the way for establishment of a United Nations tourism 5 years later. And it was in the third session in 1979 that the United Nations General Assembly decided to institute World Tourism Day on September 27th, commencing in 1980. And the date was chosen to coincide with the important milestone in world tourism, the anniversary of the adoption of the United Nations Tourism Statutes of 1970, 27 September. So this is the significance of 27 September and dating back to 1970. And what exactly is compensation cess? So compensation cess is nothing but an additional levy that is imposed on the goods and services which attract a GST. This is imposed by the central government, not shared between the states, and to compensate the states for the loss of revenue because certain indirect taxes at the state level have been subsumed in the GST in 2017. Now this compensation cess is put into a fund called as compensation fund, and the cess is applicable only to be for 5 years. That means the states will be given the money from the fund to deal with the loss of revenue only for 5 years and not in the aftermath. The compensation cess on the goods imported in India shall be levied and collected in accordance with the provisions of the Custom Tariffs Act at the point when the duties of the customs are levied on the goods, and also under the Custom Tariffs Act of 1962 and Custom Tariffs Act of 1970. So these are however the cess is not imposed on exports of goods. And the last is about 79 General Assembly being held. So the working of the General Assembly is one of the main 6 principal organizations of the United Nations. It is a main policy body of the United Nations comprising all the members. It provides a unique forum for multilateral discussion on a full spectrum of international issues covered by the Charter of the United Nations. Each of the 193 members of the United Nations have equal vote, and they take key decisions on appointing the Secretary General on the recommendation of the Security Council, electing non-permanent members of the Security Council, approving the UN budget. The Assembly meets regularly from September to December each year, and thereafter, as required, it discusses specific issues through a dedicated agency or sub-items which lead to adoption of resolutions. The sitting arrangement at the General Assembly Hall change every session. So this time now, in September 2024-25, Yemen will occupy the first seat in the hall, including the main committees as well. So these are some of the issues I thought I should be discussing with you with regard to September 14th. If you did like, please do like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to comment at the end of the video. And I shall see you later with another new important post. Until then, it's very happy learning.